Chirimiri, Santi had said forlornly. It's a word used to describe a type of rain that they say exists only here in the foothills of the Pyrenees. A rain so fine that an umbrella is useless against it. Wisps of water blowing under the umbrella's cuff to cling to the rough whiskers of your cheeks at the end of the day. It's a poetic word. One of the first words of Basque I learned, and hearing it never ceases to conjure the image of the woman who explained its meanings my first week in Muriga, more than 50 years ago. The woman and I had been leaning against the stone wall of San Telmo Cathedral, the same cathedral that Santi and I now passed. Chi-ri-mi-ri, she had said. The knees of my slacks darkened from the rain as she deconstructed the word, laying out its component parts for me to examine. Chi-ri-mi-ri. Now you. It had felt small and thin in my clumsy American mouth. I was accustomed to deep, round sounds, not these diminutive tsks against the front teeth. I'd expected her to laugh, but instead she took my hand up in hers. Her fingers were cold and thin, and they vibrated lightly around mine. Chirimiri, she repeated slowly, holding my palm up to her mouth so that I could feel how little air came out. She leaned off the wall of the cathedral, closer to me, so that now our knees were touching, and she said again the word, that wonderful word. Tsk, tsk, chi-ri-mi-ri. Primary investigation points to ETA, the front page now announces as I unfold my paper against a patio table at the Bolina. It's still early spring, and it's unusual to be able to enjoy a morning coffee outside like this. And yet the last 2 days have brought a warm current up from the Canary Islands that has pushed back against the Arctic current. I roll up the sleeves of my sweater, wipe my hands over constellations of sunspots spread across my pale forearms. I read the first few lines of the cover article, then turn to the sports section on the second-to-last page of the paper before placing it back down on the table. What can such an article convey, really? How many words are needed to announce an inexplicably horrible thing, to tell us that there will be no recovery from this? But Muriga has experience with these acts that erode the soul of a people. The bombing of Atocha inevitably has torn the stitches from a wound nearly 6 years healed, and this morning's stillness is evidence of the effort required to convince ourselves that our lives are still intact after the death of José Antonio Torres. I watch Mariana, his widow, crossing Zabaleta holding their daughter Elena by the wrist. The girl is now 8 years old, nearly 9. She has her mother's features, but the large, startlingly blue eyes of José Antonio. Behind her, Martín mops the walk in front of his small grocery at the corner of Achiaga and Zabaleta, stopping after every few passes to pull from a cigarette pinched between 2 fingers. A pair of boys I recognize from Colegio San Jorge speed along Calle Zabaleta on their motor scooter, their light blue Oxfords, untucked, flicking behind them. They are 17 or 18, the same age Iker was the year that he was arrested for José Antonio's abduction and murder. As Mariana approaches, I glance back into the bar to where Estefana shuffles across the worn stone floor, the cup of espresso and milk in her hand resting on a thin brown saucer. She brings me this same cup of coffee nearly every morning, and yet today I am surprised by the sight of her, this sturdy, strong woman. For the first time, I notice the ribbons of white that have wound their way through the thick black brambles of her hair. I hear the scrape of her right shoe, which doesn't rise quite as high as the left.